51 dead, close to 100 people missing, and a frantic search and rescue mission is still going on at this hour in Huruma Eastlands of Nairobi. Families are spending hours agonizing over the fate of their loved ones, and dreams have been rudely cut short. The search and rescue party is fraught with problems, frustrated by rain on one hand, on the other, the difficult terrain to reach and move heavy equipment to ground zero is proving a task. Still, they hope to reach more survivors than pulling out corpses. But with every passing minute, that window is closing, and is closing very fast. Huruma Mwangi has spent the entire day talking to survivors and the rescuers. He'll bring us up to speed. Now, over 72 hours after that 6-story building collapsed, coming down with it is the credibility and integrity of the buildings in this country. Tonight, there are more questions than answers. Who should we blame for the collapse of this building? Engineer Evans Goro from the Architecture Society of Kenya perhaps has some answers for us tonight.
The engineers make sure that the building stands and they put life into it. So all of us, plus members of the press, should know that that is what we do. Sometimes, because of problems, maybe because people don't, particularly the private developers, want to take shortcuts. They don't engage all the professionals at the same time. They say, we have builders, we can do it. And then get people who are not qualified and licensed to do the jobs. Where we stand at the moment, we license all our engineers and we have them in our register.
All right, in this program, we'll be talking to Engineer Evans Goro, who's from the Architectural Society of Kenya. We'll be asking him, who should we blame about this building that has just collapsed? And the big question we're asking you tonight, who should take responsibility for the Huruma tragedy? Tweet us at KTN News, at KTN Kenya, and at James Smart. I'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions in this hour of news. This is Monday Night News. I'm James Smart. Good evening and welcome to the program. The highlights.
Wacha kuniuliza maswali mingi sababu nasikia kuanguka.
Responsibility can only be established after we've done thorough investigation.
Fears of a rising death toll in Huruma. And what's in a name? On the lead tonight, we tell you why a name is significant in the feud between Kabogo and Waititu.
If one leaves the party, then the best thing is to run, to call for a by-election. Yeah.
I'm a card-carrying member of WIPA, but I don't foresee myself running for my second term as of governor in the party called WIPA.
Does Mutua have what it takes to unseat Kalonzo as the kingpin in Ukambani politics? Shock and drama as underage girls are arrested for taking nude pictures in public.
All right, welcome to the program, everyone. This is Monday Night News. Now, even as rescue operations continue in Huruma, there are growing fears that the death toll is set to rise with a possible recovery of more bodies buried under the rubble. Let's bring in our reporter, Huruma Mwangi, who has followed these developments very closely. Huruma, good evening. How's the rescue mission looking in Huruma?
Good evening, Smart. Now, 22 people have so far been confirmed dead, and 96 others are still missing. But as the rescue operations continue, the tragedy on the ground is that there are two areas of the collapsed building that are still inaccessible to the heavy rescue equipment, one bordering the river and the other one just behind the building. And therefore, much as the rescue operation is ongoing, the fear for the residents of Huruma is that a majority of those are still trapped inside the building might be in these two sections that have not yet been accessed. But this, of course, happens on the same day that various professional bodies that are tasked to check on the standards of the construction work have each shifted blame, and nobody wants to take responsibility for the collapsed building at Huruma. And here is a report that I prepared for you earlier today. Day 4 of the rescue operation at Huruma. 22 people have already been confirmed dead. 96 others still missing. It is feared a majority of them may still be trapped inside this rubble.
We are still hopeful of finding more alive. So we are very cautious as we move from step by step. So we'll ask you to bear with us. We are doing our best.
I have 96 cases which have not yet been closed. And as when I talk about the closed cases are that we've been able to establish that either some of them have passed on in the incident or some have been traced.
But even as the machines are drilling, lifting and turning here, at the opposite end of the collapsed building, the debris is untouched. Residents here fear that a majority of the missing persons may be trapped here. Now, those leading the rescue efforts say that the area is inaccessible, perhaps an indicator that some families might have to wait longer before they can know the fate of their loved ones. It is even worse on the edge of the rubble bordering the river, which is totally inaccessible. The few volunteers that attempt to make their way here have to brave the currents of the flooded river, as others put their own lives at risk, venturing inside the debris without proper protective gear.
The tools for lifting, for heavy lifting equipment, cannot access that point. Even where to put debris.
Rais alikuja akasema nyumba zibomolewe, lakini yeye hakutuambia penye tunaenda.
Nimejitokeza kama vile mimi niko individual assistant. Nimekuja tu kusaidia mahali naweza.
Up until now, only 2 of the unsafe buildings located next to the ill-fated one have been successfully evacuated. The landlady of one of the hazardous buildings unsuccessfully attempted to dodge our cameras.
Uliidhinishwa kujenga jengo hili na the county government?
Wacha kuniuliza maswali mingi sababu nasikia kuanguka.
Haukupewa ruhusa ya kujenga hii nyumba?
Wacha kuniuliza mambo mengi, wakikuja nitaongea.
Sema ulikuwa umeruhusiwa.
Ndio.
Nani uliruhusiwa kujenga nyumba?
Ndio.
Meanwhile, at the Public Works headquarters, the blame game continued over the Huruma tragedy. Engineers and architects are blaming quacks who have invaded their industry, while the Office of the Buildings Inspectorate and the National Construction Authority pointed fingers at private developers who rushed to court to block demolition of unsafe buildings.
Responsibility can only be established after we've done the right investigation. We must look at the developer. We must look at the people who are concerned in building, the contractors. We must look at the level of materials, the quality standards.
The owner of the collapsed Huruma building has already been arrested, while the engineer and architect who oversaw the construction work are still at large. Muremi Mwangi, KTN News in Nairobi. So the rescue operation goes into day 5 tomorrow. But of course, the questions that Kenyans out there are asking, where is the whereabouts of the engineer and the architect who oversaw the construction work of that building at Huruma? And how many more buildings in the city are at such a state and nobody is providing the answers? Back to you in studio.
Thank you very much, Muremi Mwangi. Now, joining us in studio is Engineer Evans Goro from the Architectural Association of Kenya. He will provide an insight into the construction industry and who does what before and after a building is constructed. This conversation comes to you a little later. But right now, let's take you back to that big question you're asking you tonight. Who should take responsibility of the collapsed building? Who should take the responsibility for the Huruma tragedy? I'd like to hear your thoughts. tweet us at KTN News, at KTN Kenya if you like, and at James Smart on Twitter. I'll pick out your views during this live news broadcast. Well, the recent rains have turned out to be a blessing in disguise for some people. For others, it has become a temporary source of income, or as they call it, a side hustle. Take a look at this.
Residents continue to wake up to flooded roads and heavy traffic. To some, it is an opportunity to put an extra coin into their pockets. They are a fraction of the unemployed youth in the country. They live each day as it comes, meeting challenges as the day unfolds to ensure that their ends meet.
Tunategemea mvua ikinyesha hivi ndo tunaweza kupata mshahara kidogo tukiweza kuoshea watu viatu. Ama kando na hii mvua isipokuja tunabeba mizigo.
And as the rains continue, the business of shoe cleaning and physically carrying people on the flooded streets is actually proving to be enough to put food on the table, if only for a day. At Kencom bus stage in Nairobi, they charge 30 shillings to carry people across the flooded road.
Mwingine anakuja na bahati mzuri anakusaidia. Mwingine anakuachia hata kama umemtisha mbao. Kunalingana na mtu vile unaongea na customer.
Bibi yangu alizaa juzi hivi na yeye ndo ananitegemea upande wa kazi, ya ana kazi. Anategemea mapato yangu, vile mimi nitapata ndio atakula na nitawezesha kujigharamia kwa hiyo nyumba yangu katika mapato yangu kidogo kidogo.
However, just like any other business, they too face challenges. Convincing customers seems to be a hard task to this group of determined young men. With many residents of Nairobi now blaming Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero for failing to maintain the city's drainage system, the prayers of these young men is that the rains will continue.
Maombi yangu sana, ninaituma hii maombi kwa Mwenyezi Mungu, ni mvua inyeshe kwa zaidi ili sisi tukaweze kupata mapato, kwa maana hii mvua inatulisha na inatuvisha.
Making a profit of up to 500 shillings on a good day, they do not look forward to the inevitable day that they will have to find other ways of surviving.
Mom na daddy na wasalamia, lakini nafanya kazi kwa bidii huku town.
All right, Ugunja legislator Opiyo Wandayi will go down in Kenyan history as the first member of parliament to be suspended from parliament for an entire session which runs for a whole year. Now, although he claims he is not bitter over the severe punishment, Opiyo will have to do without all the privileges and allowances that MPs enjoy. Chris Dairu met with Opiyo Wandayi and now tells us how the first-time MP is coping with life outside parliament.
It is now 1 month since he was forcibly ejected from Parliament for disrupting the President's speech during State of the Nation address. He was among CORD MPs who blew whistles to protest alleged poor leadership by the Jubilee administration. Speaker Justin Muturi was forced to invoke severe standing orders on Opiyo Wandayi that saw him suspended for a whole year. We caught up with the MP at Orange House, where he spends most of his time nowadays serving as the party's Secretary for Political Affairs.
And I'm not bitter at all. I said from the outset, in fact on the very day when I was sent away, that for this country to be where it is currently, a lot of people have made sacrifices, serious sacrifices. If it would call for my sacrifice, then it is a sacrifice which is not in vain.
Until February next year, Wandayi will neither access his office at Parliament nor enjoy the services of his secretary and personal assistant. He is only entitled to his basic salary of 532,500 shillings, which is subjected to 30% taxation. Benefits Wandayi lost include sitting allowances both in the chambers and committees, which is 5,000 shillings per sitting, mileage allowances, which is paid 109 shillings per kilometer, travel allowances, both local and international, which vary from destination to destination, and CDF allowances, as well as the constituency offices.
I am not driven by any material interests, largely because Before I joined Parliament, I was working in the corporate world. Actually, I just resigned a month to the March 2013 elections. And so if a question of money, benefits, material being, well-being, I would have chosen to remain in the corporate world.
Do you miss debating some legislative agenda, and are you people of Ugunja missing something now that you're out of the 11th Parliament for the whole session?
Personally, I wouldn't say I'm missing anything, but the fact of the matter is that the people who I represent are obviously missing something. The people of Kenya, on whose behalf I speak, because in the National Assembly, when I speak, when I act on behalf of the people of Kenya.
An accountant by profession, Opio argues that the punishment has only hardened him.
All these actions were choreographed, were premeditated. Yeah, okay? And therefore it didn't come as a surprise to us. And even the very fact that I was singled out in the crowd, if I may call it so, did not come as a surprise, because as I've mentioned, I knew I was a target. If the intention was to punish me by denying me money, then it has not succeeded. It will never succeed, I can tell you.
Opio will not lose his seat, since it was not by choice that he will miss mandatory sittings, but instead he will go down in history as the first MP to be suspended for a whole session in the Commonwealth. Chris Dairo, KTN News.
Staying in politics, Machakos Governor Dr. Alfred Mutua is touted as the next kingpin for Ukambani region. Whether or not he can grab the title from Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka is a different matter altogether. Ben Kiteli explores this on Spotlight 2017 tonight.
The southeastern Kenya region, also known as Ukambani, is a key voting bloc which analysts say could be vital in swaying the 2017 vote. It is a largely opposition-called stronghold through the popular Wiper Democratic Movement. But the ruling Jubilee coalition has been making inroads into the region, much to the discomfort of Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka. And given Machakos Governor Dr. Alfred Mutua's growing political clout, do Wiper and Kalonzo Musyoka have reason to worry? The political equation in Ukambani has been something of a puzzle in the last few years. Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka has enjoyed a cult-like following in the region for years, and the 2013 election figures show that Ukambani is a solid opposition zone. However, the entry of Machakos Governor Dr. Alfred Mutua into elective politics 3 years ago threw a spanner in the works. Mutua has been seeking to change the narrative of Ukambani politics by challenging the so-called old order led by Musyoka.
Mheshimiwa Kalonzo Musyoka is a distinguished Kenyan who should be accorded respect. What we have come up with ourselves is a different way of doing things. We don't say there's anything wrong with him. We don't say there's issues, but we are a younger generation in this region of Ukambani, make the majority. We give him his respect, but we want to do things in a different way. It's a paradigm shift.
Although elected on a Wiper ticket, Mutua has chosen to chart his own path with his Maendeleo chap-chap ideology, and his bright shining political star has been a cause of major discomfort to the Wiper hierarchy.
You can't compare the development record of Kalonzo Musyoka's 20-something years plus compared to Alfred Mutua's 3 years in office.
Kalonzo Musyoka's close allies have however rubbished Mutua's brand of politics, insisting the Wiper leader remains the region's unrivaled leader.
If at all he was serious and he felt that he's still getting political clout, somebody should resign from the political party that sponsored him to parliament and go back to the people to look for a fresh mandate.
If you're not a member of Wiper, and if you're not in good books with him, or if Mr. Kalonzo has not endorsed you, probability of you winning a parliamentary election is almost zero.
The latest bone of contention between the two camps is a recent visit to State House by a group of professionals from Ukambani led by the Machakos governor, who says it is all about development.
The devolved funds that we are getting are only 15% of the national budget. 85% remains with President Uhuru Kenyatta's government. I would be stupid as a leader not to look for resources for the sake of my people.
In a clear show of defiance, Mutua's counterparts in Kitui and Makueni, Dr. Julius Malombe and Professor Kivutha Kibwana respectively skipped the State House meeting, saying that they had not been consulted and neither had their party leader. For years, the Ukambani political leadership has accused the government of marginalizing the region. Mutua's Maendeleo Chap-Chap movement has gained much traction in the region, causing a political headache for Wiper.
If indeed the governor has left the party, fine. If one leaves the party, then the best thing is to run, to call for a by-election. We'll celebrate. Yeah.
I'm a card-carrying member of Wiper, but I don't foresee myself running for my second term as of governor in the party called Wiper.
So is Mutua outfoxing Musyoka to become the undisputed kingpin of the Ukambani region?
What Mutua is positioning himself, he's trying to say the nation called Kamba Nation must wake up and change tact.
He has to go back to Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka on bended knees and apologize most profusely.
It's the other side that is going against the grain, that wants to take us back to the supremacy wars of 1980s and 90s. They are going against the grain.
The demands by the Wiper leadership that their leader Musyoka be on the core presidential ticket in 2017, analysts say, could also cause a major shift in the region's political direction. Ben Kitili, KTN News.
All right, police in Kisumu are holding a group of 8 girls and 1 man caught stripping and taking nude photos in a public park. The girls are aged between 14 and 17 years old. They are said to have been lured into the business by a man believed to be using the pictures to feed pornographic internet sites. Sources have hinted that the online site, which was set for release this week, is an extension of sex trade business involving young girls in the area. Police acted on a tip-off from members of the public. All right, and to take you back to the big question tonight, we'd like to ask you that question of Huruma. I think who should take responsibility for the Huruma tragedy? Who should take responsibility for the Huruma tragedy? That's the question we're asking tonight. Tweet us at KTN News, at KTN Kenya, and at James Smart, and we'll be happy to sample some of the views at the end of this live newscast. Right, Monday Night News, take a short break. We'll be right back shortly. Don't go too far. That interview and, of course, that story involving Ferdinand Waititu and his challenger, William Kabogo. Let's stay with football, and Kayole Asubuhi denied Jericho All-Stars a chance of extending their lead on top of the Sport Pesa Super 8 Premier League after holding them to a hard-fought 1-1 draw on Sunday at the now Toyota grounds at Jericho Estate. Asman Paul went ahead for the early riser in the 14th minute, but Eddie Courier diluted his efforts 2 minutes afterwards. The hotly contested top 8 of the table clash failed to showcase goals galore as hoped, as both sides proved equal to the task. The tie turning into a physical affair as early as the first half. Jericho, whose packed fans braved the chilly afternoon showers to cheer for their boys, who were brimmed with confidence and precision, but they could not convert all that into tangible results. Asubuhi were made to wait to take pole position in the 16-team pack despite putting a spirited fight, forcing the tie to end at 1-1. As a result of the draw, All Stars retained top spot with 28 points, same as Asubuhi, but the former has lesser number of goals. All right, now about 900 jubilant fans and employees of the Thai billionaire who owns Leicester City roared when the final whistle blew in their team's 1-1 draw at Manchester United on Sunday, May the 1st, that left them on the brink of winning the Premier League title. Victory at Old Trafford would have secured Leicester's first English top-flight crown, but the club's growing fan base in Thailand will have to wait a little longer before the real party begins. Thai supporters gathered in front of a giant outdoor screen erected in front of the Gritsi headquarters of King Power Stadium, the duty-free franchise of tycoon Vichai Srivardhana Frabaha, who brought Leicester in 2010. King Power laid on food and beer for the fans watching the match. All right, thank you very much for watching Monday Night News. Thank you very much for your opinion and thoughts. The wisdom of the crowd tonight on the big question we asked you, who should take responsibility over the Huruma building collapse? The wisdom of the tribe on Twitter tonight, family, the county government, Dr. Ivan Skidarov. The questions are on tonight. Thank you very much for making your time. Thank you very much for watching. Gotta love you and leave you. My name is James Smart.